Well, first off, it's very nice to meet both of you, and I want to thank both of you for joining us today. I know that the crowd is very excited to hear what you have to say, so let's just jump right into the questions. This is directed at both of you. You're both very experienced coaches. You've been a coach for 23 years, and you've been one for 19 years. What are some of the key ingredients to building and sustaining such a successful program?
Well, I think that's a really kind way of saying we're both rather elderly. Especially this one who's having a birthday today. I think there are all kinds of, we could talk about this for probably half an hour, but first and foremost, you create a culture among your team, a culture where players are coming to be about something greater than themselves, great emphasis on who you become, not just how you play. And as a coach, when you build an environment like that, obviously, it's for life beyond basketball. There's your catch with your tag beyond. But it's also, I think for coaches, if we are completely enamored with who wins the last game of the year, there will be one coach who feels fulfilled, and the rest of us will be struggling because there's one team that wins at the end. It has to be more than about the outcome. And I think that's the way you sustain over time, is you make sure that it's greater than the game.
Like everyone, thank you for the birthday wishes, and entering 19th year. And I talk to our kids all the time, and I know when Michael speaks, the type of kids that we want to recruit or have to be champions in the classroom, in the community, and on the court. And I truly believe you win in that locker room first. And us coaches talk about culture all the time. And you can't be successful on the floor without bringing great people in your program, and that's what we take pride in. Student athletes are just going to represent this university and athletic department in such a great way.
Thank you for that. My next question is directed at both of you again. You both believe that to be the best, you have to play the best and beat the best. Can you talk to me about some of your philosophies, including scheduling and the matchups, such as this one?
I'm very thankful that we have a home-and-home schedule, and it's very difficult for us to get games like this. And for us, we have to get 7 games and 2 tournaments every year out of our 14 non-conference games because we're not in a football 5 conference. So I'm thankful for us starting this home and home, and other teams like Louisville and Ohio State and LSU and Penn State and other programs that have, that respect our program and want a quality RPI game, because it's games like this, and I know Coach will talk about it, that prepare you for January, February, for the conference tournament and then the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I regularly have my sanity questioned by our local media for the type of schedule that we put together. I think last year it was the second toughest schedule in the country, and we have an incredibly young team this year. And at preseason media, everybody wanted to know, well, why is your schedule so tough when you have such a young team? Well, there's 2 reasons. Number one, you schedule like 3 years in advance. So like we didn't do it last year when we knew what our recruiting class was going to be. But the other piece of that is we always want to prepare ourselves to win a Big 12 championship and to get into the NCAA tournament and win in the NCAA tournament. And the only way you're going to do that is if you find out about your team. I liken it to this. If you buy a new car and you take it on a straight road and you drive it on a highway for a while, you're going to get where you're going, but you're not going to really know anything about the car. If you go on the back roads and you go up and down hills and through tough terrain and you get there, you're going to know a lot about that car. I want to know a lot about our team when January rolls around. I want to know even more when March rolls around. Our conference is very, very tough, and so we'll get that challenge in January and February. But prior to that, we want to know who we are, what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and how we can get better. And so we love to not only play teams that have been in the NCAA tournament that are talented, but we really love to play great coaches. I want to play Jose because he does an unbelievable job on the floor. His offense, the way he structures things, his adjustments during the game, that's better for our team and for me. We grow through these experiences. They're not always real fun, kind of like going to the dentist sometimes, but we will learn and grow as a result of having been here.
I love how you worded that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, Coach Coale, I heard that your team recently read to a preschool class prior to the Big 12 Media Day. Why is it so important to you to provide community service and social impact opportunities for your student athletes?
Again, after 19 consecutive NCAA tournaments and 3 Final Fours, the things that we remember go far beyond what happens out there. The things that our players come back and talk about are, remember that time we went to that school, or remember that Christmas when we did that little skit at Children's Hospital. That's the stuff that sticks with them, and hopefully our desire is that when they finish their careers at the University of Oklahoma, wherever they go, wherever they live, whatever community they become a part of, that they find an organization that speaks to their passion and they can continue that experience. So it's incredibly important. I have to give the Big 12 Conference credit for the reading day. We had an unbelievably well-organized media day at a local school in Dallas that the conference has actually adopted. And so we got to read, my 2 players that were at Media Day with me, and I got to read to a little preschool class, and they all had OU shirts on, and we taught them the OU chant. It was the cutest thing you've ever seen. We read books on fire safety, and they showed us how to stop, drop, and roll and the whole thing. And so it was fantastic, and we love that. But our players at Oklahoma are in elementary schools 1 day a week. Every player adopts a classroom in the community of Norman. And they thank you for that. They go 1 hour a week on their own schedule, on their own time, and it lasts throughout the entire year. And what is great about that is there aren't a lot of, we have 12 players on our roster, so there are 12 classrooms that are getting touched. So not every school in Norman can get touched, and certainly not every classroom at every school can. But the depth of those relationships in those classrooms where our kids are, I have a file of letters from parents and teachers alike. One in particular, Jose might remember Lanisha Caulfield, who was on our 2002 national runner-up team. A father of a student in the class sent me a letter and said his kid would never go to school, second grader, never wanted to go to school, even ran away a couple of times waiting for the bus. And all of a sudden, he wanted to go to school every Wednesday. And he couldn't figure out why he always wanted to go to school on Wednesdays. And finally, he said, "What is happening at school on Wednesday?" And Lanisha Caulfield was visiting his classroom, and he turned his life around. And so that's why we do that, is to get our players out there where they can make an impact. And as much of an impact as Niche probably had on that kid, I think his impact on her was even greater. She's a preschool teacher now and has 3 kids of her own. It's awesome.
That's so sweet.
Thank you.
So, Coach Fernandez, you've reached the NCAA tournament the last 4 years, but what's equally as impressive is your off-court success. You have a 100% graduation rate, and you've been awarded a perfect academic progress report by the NCAA. Can you talk to me about the importance of a student-athlete balance?
Well, I'm very thankful to have just an incredible staff that does a great job recruiting. And at one point or another, that ball's going to stop bouncing. And we talk to our kids all the time. And we're very proud that we have engineering. Last year, Maria Jespersen was one of our seniors, and she was an engineering major. And she was an engineering student of the year for the University of South Florida. And we have doctors and lawyers, and that's what it's all about. When you see our young ladies speak in the community and do community service and really get to know them and talk about their dreams and their aspirations, because you look at our team, we have kids from all over the world, but they're here to get an education first, and they're using basketball to get a free education. So I couldn't be prouder to be the head basketball coach here and work with these type of young ladies day in, day out.
Thank you. And then this one is directed to both of you again. Like you said, your rosters have a lot of newcomers and very few upperclassmen. Some people might say that you're rebuilding your team, but I'd say it's more of just reloading it. Can you talk to me about the expectations you have for your young teams, and what can fans expect from the teams today?
Well, I told my boss, he came by practice the other day, I guess we'll figure out how good of a coach I am losing an All-American. But, it's just not about one player. It's about the team. And we lost 2 great seniors last year in Elia Flores and Maria Jespersen, and we inserted Sydney Harvey into the lineup and Beatrice Jordow. Our goals haven't changed for this season. It's just heartfelt loss for Kit, just devastating for the type of student athlete she is. She was Scholar Athlete of the Year last year with a 4.0 GPA, and she's going to come back better than ever. But our team goals haven't changed, and we will keep moving forward. That's what it's all about.
We have 7 freshmen, 2 seniors, 3 sophomores, and one of our starting sophomores is out as well with an injury, so I can relate at least to a certain extent there. We hate to see that in the game. Unfortunately, it's part of it. But as Jose said, the goals do not change. I said at our opening presentation, the very first time I introduced this year's team, I said, obviously we are young. That is the last time you're going to hear me say that, because what difference does it make? You know, I watch 13-year-olds go on The Voice and sing like crazy. I'm like, really? If they can do that, why can't you go make a basket? That's what we, recruited you to do. So we understand that these are new experiences. One of my freshmen asked me before, while we were at the airport on our layover in Houston, so how do we get from the airport to the hotel when we get there? And I said, well, we get on a bus. And she said, we just find a bus? And I'm like, no. We have a charter bus that we take, kind of like the one that took us to the airport in Oklahoma. So they don't even know. This is all incredibly new for them. But that out there is not new for them. They've been doing that since they were in the 5th grade. So the reason they came to Oklahoma is to win and go to the NCAA tournament and win there, and that's what we expect to do.
Well, thank you both for taking time out of your routine to stop by and chat with us. I hope to personally see both of you again April 5th at Amalie Arena. And how about we get a big round of applause for these 2 amazing players?
Thanks, coaches. Thanks, Anna. Great job. Good luck today, guys. Thanks for joining us.